And Kevin, just because you don't know, um,
Yes.
Jesse's been leading a charmed life.
How's
And,
that?
well, he just always comes to me with these outrageous stories, just outrageous stories. I mean, some people can tell a good story. Jesse actually lives through these outrageous stories, and
Oops.
I don't know how they keep happening to him, but it makes my life feel relatively humdrum compared to Jesse's. But maybe we'll get him to tell us one or two of them.
All
I'm
right.
looking forward to hearing those stories.
Yeah, I think it's a way cool thing that I get a chance to introduce people that I've known in the movement for a long time, where a lot of people in our audience are relative newcomers. We have tons of followers who've been 80-10-10 for a very long time, but they pretty much figured out how to do it, and sometimes they still show up, but sometimes they just go, you know what, we're going to get on with our business and leave all the talking part to the newcomers and let them get their questions answered. So it's kind of fun, Jesse's very good with beginners as well, and very sensitive to that. He's one of those guys that feels a lot and isn't afraid to express that, to be open to that. So it's kind of it's a good side of the man.
Oh, thank you, Doug.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, Kevin. You want to start us out and introduce
I'd be
what
happy
this show
to.
is about tonight?
This is a little bit of a different format than most of our users have been privy to over the last few months, but we're going to get into an interview series, as Dr. Graham was mentioning and alluding to there. We'll be introducing some long-time success stories, some of Dr. Graham's friends and I guess students from the past as well. And this is a long-time success story tonight. And you all know Dr. Graham very well. I won't spend much time on his introduction. Best-selling author of the 8-10-10 Diet, recent author of Perpetual Health 365. Go out and get that book if you don't have it yet. But tonight we're going to be focusing on a discussion with Jesse Bogdanovich, living in Croatia right now. I think over 17 years ago about that he started a raw food diet.
19 now.
19
Just
now.
over 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
From when I've done my research on you, Jesse, you made the switch pretty much overnight after hearing about the opportunity of healing that could come about. And you'll probably go into it, but you had a whole host of health issues that you were dealing with, perhaps stemming from a vaccine issue.
That's right.
Okay. I'll let you tell the story. I won't get too much into it, but Jesse's got a long story of healing and thriving after making that transition into a raw vegan lifestyle. And I look forward to this interview tonight. And we'll have a chance at the end, if Dr. Graham and Jesse are open to it. At the end of Dr. Graham's conversation with Jesse, we'll open it up to questions for all of us to chime in and ask Jesse for his pearls of insight.
People want to type in questions as they think of them, even. That's fine. And we may or may not get the question immediately, though, because I want to keep Jesse in the flow. Jesse, I got to say that for a 20-year-old, you look really, really good.
For a 30-year-old, you look really, really good. But how old are you?
For a 60-year-old, you look very good.
Yeah, January, I just hit the big 40. And I still feel like a teenager, and my energy is just off the charts. And it's this lifestyle, it really works.
Do you sleep a lot? Do you sleep more than the average bear? Do you 7 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours? What do you need generally?
Oh, between 7 and 8. And it all depends. I mean, if I do something crazy like, the cruise or something, I might need a couple days of 10 just after that, all that stress and working hard, but usually between 7 and 8. And I think it's really important to get a good amount of sleep, because I think that's where the whole world is missing. I see, being in Europe, I see a lot of people staying up on Facebook 11, 12, 1, 2 in the morning, and I look at them and coach them, and I see that's their biggest problem. So we need to get to bed early. And when the sun goes down, we should be going down. And when it comes up, we should rise and do our exercise and everything.
Well, I don't think you can hear me at this point, so I'm just gonna type in here.
I can hear you just fine, Dr. Graham.
I can hear you. I can hear you too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys can't see me.
I can see
we
you.
We can see you just fine too.
Oh, well, all you do is playing games with me. It's playing tricks because it's telling me that I need to turn my webcam on and my microphone on, and then it's letting me do it.
And the attendees are also saying they can see you and hear you just fine.
Well,
we're all good.
You know what? Hi, Michael. I can't see you either, Michael, but I'm glad you can see me. And then I'll just continue as if it was normal, but something just switched on my screen that made me think it wasn't working right. Jesse, we first met 17, 18 years ago.
Yes.
It was a good while. I think it was in 2000, but it could have been 2001.
Something like that. I know it was at that
Portland Raw Food Festival.
That's right.
Walking up to me, just almost just so excited. Yeah. And you still have every bit of that enthusiasm.
Yeah, it never left at all. I'm just as excited as my first day trying this lifestyle out, the raw food diet. Just all these years, it just keeps getting better and better still. It's just magic. It's wonderful. It's what all the animals do. It's what all the animals do, you know? They eat their food natural.
What prompted you? What set the whole thing off? Take us back to, there must have been some reason you made lifestyle changes. And I mean, I know your mom's a very healthy person and your dad's a very healthy person. And what got you going?
Well, do you want me to go way back to the beginning, even before raw food, or?
Well, not the beginning of time, but maybe just like before raw food. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, I was born a healthy baby and everything was fine. And then my parents wanted to do the best for me and they got me vaccinated. And I got vaccinated with a live polio vaccine and actually got polio from the vaccine. And
you were just a little boy.
Yeah.
Old enough to remember it?
Yeah. I actually remember way back from the beginning somehow. It's amazing. I remember actually being born and in the hospital and seeing bright lights and kind of coming out, and unique story, kind of, you know, that's what I remember, actually, the bright light and coming out and seeing these huge bright lights. And I remember that. I'll never forget that. And just thinking, oh, where's my mom? Where's my mom? Or where's that, you know, nice energy? And then my mom grabbed me eventually, and I just felt really calm. This, you know, first this burst of excitement and crazy white light, and then my mom grabbing me and I feeling really calm.
So how old were you when you got vaccinated, roughly?
About 2.
About 2, and then your health took a nosedive.
Nosedive. I mean, I got started shaking. I started getting paralysis and just convulsions. And then I started getting paralysis, and then I went completely paralyzed to where I was just like a ball. And that was it. And, so, say that again?
It's called catatonic.
Yeah. So I was like stuck into a ball, completely paralyzed. And my parents didn't know what to do. And all the doctors said, oh, you know, it may be, you know, your allergic reaction to the vaccine, or it could have been something else. And it was just a horrible mess. And I just remember that suffering and pain and just burning inside and just feeling so sick and tired, really, really tired all the time, just like no energy, no life force, it felt like. And yeah,
and so what happened as a result of that? You came out of it.
Yeah, well, actually, I was stuck like that, and then my parents took me to 5 specialists, and actually all 5 of them said I was going to die by the time I'm 13, So my parents started getting me into physical therapy and just stretching me out as much as they could, and working on that, and looking at nutritionists, and everyone was saying, oh, you got to eat just, whatever, you got to get this food in, you got to be, nursing, and it was a big mess. So anyway, I didn't really get better because the doctors wanted to do, surgeries and things, and all these medications and testing on me and stuff. And my parents at that point said, how can we trust you when we gave our son a vaccine, and look what happened after that vaccine. So my mom dropped everything and started looking for alternatives, and then found out about alternative doctors and different therapies and fasting. Actually, my dad, this is fast forward, I was just suffering as a child, but fast forward to around 11, my dad found the fasting book by Paul and Patricia Bragg, The Miracle of Fasting. You've probably heard of that one.
Sure.
Yeah. And I started fasting. So just slowly, started 1 day fasting, then built up to 3 days, and then 5 days, and then 7, 10, 15, and then several 21-day fasts. And when I started doing those 21-day fasts, I felt a miracle happen. I felt like for the first time, this beautiful energy just shoot around my body. And I knew that I could be okay maybe with fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And the fasting just saved my life. If it wasn't for fasting, I would not be here talking with you guys today.
So you really took it to the edge.
Yeah.
Quite something. So, okay, so that gets you into your teens, and what kind of food were you eating at that point? Were you
At that point, actually, we were just kind of Mediterranean, with a lot of fresh, salads and fruits and things. So, not too much meat, but, fish here and there, relatively healthy. Our whole family did the, kind of Mediterranean thing. That's how my parents were brought up and everything. So, relatively healthy. And then as I got better with that fasting and everything, I started, thinking, oh, I can have whatever kind of food. And I was always really underweight, and all these doctors were saying, oh, you got to eat meat and all this stuff, and you should just eat whatever. So I experimented eating, sadly, fast food and everything. And then I, developed all kinds of health challenges. And then I thought, I wonder why when I fast, I feel so good. Everything is amazing. So, the fasting protocol is you eat raw food for a few days, then you fast, and then you break your fast with raw food, and then you slowly get back into eating things again, and then my health would go down again.
Yeah,
so eventually I kind of started slowly, I just couldn't get it. I was kind of brainwashed with that food and the addictions and things, and I just could not get it. And I read books about juicing and all these things, but still I didn't get it until 1998. I read David Wolf's book, Nature's First Law, and that just something snapped in my head when he said in there that only humans and pets get degenerative diseases because they cook their food. Something just went boom, red alert, get all this crap out of the house and dive right in.
Right.
And that's what I did. So I kind of went 100%. Yeah, I went 100% overnight at 21. And I just, all my, let's see, I had the onset of juvenile diabetes. I had ingrown toenails. I had bad stomach aches. I had some pimples and just low energy, not feeling good. And that all went away by eating raw food.
I know a lot of people think we make this stuff up, like it's too good to be true, but it's actually very much true. And my question is the same as everybody else's question, I'm assuming. Did you ever look back? Do you want to sometimes just wish you could eat whatever you wanted to eat, or
No, because I played when I didn't understand raw food, I went back and forth because, you know, in the books of fasting and stuff, they say, oh, you know, you should eat cleaner and eat better. And I kind of, it was in the back of my head, but then when I, you know, experienced the fasting, then the raw food again, and then as soon as I went back into that, I saw that health problems, stomach issues, feeling really sick, no energy would kick in, you know? So, I mean, I just really didn't even dip back in or even try sauces or, you know, even sticking my finger back in. I was my mindset. I think it's mindset. I was just like, I never looked back actually.
Well, I can promise you, when I was in college, I had a rather old car, and although my car today is still rather old, uh, I would never trade it for the one I had back then because things used to fall off of that car, and you know, when you find something better, you don't desire for the old way, whatever it is. So I can understand it. You know, the same thing happened to me. And so now you're eating raw food, and you're. Did you ever refine that process in any way, or just if it's raw, it's good, and that's
Um,
the deal? Or how did you go about progressing from there?
Right. Well, actually, it's kind of simple because when I first started Raw and reading that book, there was no potlucks, there was no YouTube, there was no really internet and stuff. So I didn't know about all these fancy, you know, gourmet things where there's a lot of dehydrated things. So it was basically, um, you know, like fruits for breakfast, fruits for lunch, and then a big salad for dinner with like some avocado, and that's about it. You know, so I ate like that a long time, maybe for about a couple years actually, and then all of a sudden potlucks started forming, and you know, raw food started getting out there more, so we went to potlucks and people were bringing bread and all this stuff, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, no, this is not raw stuff. So we had to really check what people were bringing, and then people were making dehydrated crackers and all this stuff, so I would try that. And if I had a little bit too much, again, I would feel a dip in energy. I would have some stomach issues come up, and I would have like a breakout where my skin didn't look good. And the overall, I love this high feeling of this beautiful feeling that I got because being, I think, fasting for so long, I felt that really, really high energy. And when something takes me a little bit down from there, I really have to look at it and think if I want that in my diet or not.
Right.
So,
So you were living at where at this point? You're still in the States,
yes, I was living in Nevada.
in Nevada.
At,
So
at my parents' house, yeah.
right. And then at some point you moved over to Europe. I mean, that's a big move.
Yeah, well, actually, just when was it? 2008. So, yeah.
And again, do you want to move back? You're happy
I
where
like.
you are?
I'm happy right now. I like to just travel and you know, do lectures and stuff and be wherever I can be. You know, most of service. I felt like in the States there was so many people teaching raw food and doing everything that I kind of thought, you know, maybe I should branch out. But actually, I didn't even think about coming to Europe. What happened is my parents in 2008, when the economy was crashing, actually, I was living in Hawaii. I had the perfect dialed in life. I was already there for about 5 years or so, and it was so beautiful. I had a cheap place to rent. I had wild food that I could find. I would go pick a tree that was loaded with avocados, and I would take maybe 10 or 15 of those, and the rest, the other, you know, 150 pounds, I would go and take to the local organic store and sell those and get my mangoes and everything. So I was all dialed in. And then my parents say, you know, please come back and help us sell the family house. I'm like, oh no, my life is all dialed in here. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew if I left, I would lose my rental. The problem with Hawaii is I had a bunch of jobs. I was doing like 5 different things to survive and make savings. So it was a bit stressful. And I knew that it would be a domino effect if I went back to help them. that it would happen that way. So anyway, I came back and we brainstormed about ideas, what to do. And I had a bunch of ideas, and my parents jumped on that. And my mom had one idea to hold an open house. And next you know, a lady came and said, oh, I have a backache, I have this problem. And my mom said, oh, here's my book, The Cures and the Cause, my mom's book, and it's all about raw food and everything. And the lady took it, and she said, wow, maybe I should try this because I have headaches, I have backaches, and all these things for years. And they started eating, this lady started eating kind of a little bit more raw food, and she noticed that she was getting better. And then my dad had an idea to, or it was my mom, I forget now, but to let them stay at our house for like 7 days because they were just so skeptical about trying the house. And they were from New Jersey, I believe, and moving in that area to Nevada where there was a hot springs nearby. And my parents had an idea to just let them stay there for like 7 days. And then my dad's thinking, typical people love to watch TV, and we don't have TV or cable or anything. So we connected cable for them. It was the Olympics, and we were making them raw food, and it's a 2-story house. So we're going upstairs and making them some raw food and taking them to the hot springs. And then they decided to buy it. And then I thought, wow, that's amazing. We pulled it off in about like 3 months. And the economy was crashing, everything was going bad. And then my dad said, you know what, that's really cool how you did that. I want to treat you guys all for a trip to Europe, back to the old country, home country where we come from. And I said, wow, that would be great. This is perfect timing. And then my dad said, under one condition, that you stay there for the 4 seasons and experience 365 days. And that was the catch, all expenses paid, everything paid for, but I'd have to stay a whole year. And then I stayed, and it was so beautiful here in Croatia, the sea, the crystal clear waters, and everything. And here I am to this day. I'm hooked.
So how far from the water are you?
We're 25-minute walk. We're kind of like straight up the hill from the water. So it's 25-minute walk, and it's beautiful beaches around. It's really amazing.
When I first met you, you had a fairly severe limp.
Yes.
I mean, like, quite severe. And now I watch you, and your movement is spectacularly good.
Much better, much, much better.
What did you do to make that happen?
Lots of exercise, lots of movement, stretching, yoga. And my partner Rainey does yoga and exercises, and she was all the time getting me to just really get into that more and more and more. And I always was focusing on like upper body, doing lots of push-ups, pull-ups, and that kind of thing, and just kind of thinking, oh, my legs, they're kind of where they are. But sure enough, all that stretching and everything has helped a lot.
Good for you.
Yeah, and I'm still working on
weak links, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You got to address the weak links. So you studied with a lot of different people in the raw movement to learn as much as you could. Can you name some of the people that were influential in terms of the way you teach now? Who really impressed you back then when you were going through all those years of study?
Boy, a little bit from everyone. I mean, of course, from you, I learned a lot in Health and Fitness Week. Health and Fitness Week was great. I think I've been to like 5 of them, and that was really a key. That was a big key there. And boy, I mean, everyone, you have to find that line where people are, and it's like you can go study with everyone. I mean, you can almost name almost anyone in the movement, and I've studied with them, but it's like you can see where there's certain lines where they'll have a lot of truth and certain things are good, and then you'll find where it just completely falls off and doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so at what point did you decide to start teaching?
Well, I wanted to wait and make sure that this was the lifestyle for me first, because I don't like to really jump in things and then, you know, recommend it to people. I waited like, let's see, well, 2005 is when I started the whole lifestyle. So in 2005, I really started teaching. And before then, I would say around 2000, friends were just asking me, wow, what are you doing? You look so much better. You're so much healthier. You got all this energy. So, you know, friends would be asking me for years. And then actually at one of your health and fitness weeks, I had a list of like 100 names, and we were like on the floor, you were there, and we were kind of brainstorming, and that whole lifestyle name just came out. That's the first one that I came up with. And then we were kind of brainstorming, and what was that name that you picked? Let me see if I can go back there. Lifestyle Matters. Lifestyle Matters. I remember you blurbing that one out. And then we were just talking, and then I went online to check, and someone had that, and the whole lifestyle wasn't there. And I thought, you know what, I better grab that name. But yeah, so anyway, Health and Fitness Week was really amazing.
I'm glad that was helpful to you. I know a lot of people have been through, you know, I think we've run 24 of them now, and seen a lot of great changes in people. And what's fun this year, I've got most of the attendees at Health and Fitness Week this coming year are actually going to be people who have been before and want to come back.
Nice.
So that's always nice. That's a real pat on the back. But I like to see when it benefits people so much. So before you tell us about your latest venture, I'm wondering if, because as I mentioned at the beginning, Jesse, you seem to lead a charmed life. A lot of people look at dangerous situations and end up in trouble. I've told my daughter many times about the various stories where I've averted some serious danger or serious injury, and I count myself as being very blessed, you know, that I didn't die on a trampoline, I didn't die on a motorcycle, I didn't die on snow skis, I didn't die in a couple other different ways. But I know you've also had the same kind of things going on, and would you be willing to tell people about your little garden experience with the landmine?
That one still gives me shivers today. So anyway, when we came here back to Croatia, there was not very many fruit trees here, and we just thought, you know, that's the first thing that we can do is, you know, throw in some figs, throw in some apples, throw in whatever we can. So we got going on all that, and you know, during the war and stuff, I didn't really know that they put landmines all over the place.
Yeah, Croatia's famous for it.
Yeah. Anyway, like, I don't know, just maybe 3 years ago, there was a little landslide from a lot of rain, and a landmine just went boom, went off. So very scary. So when we hike on the trails and stuff. But anyway, we're digging in the garden, and we're going down like about a foot. And there's many rocks, you know, in this heavy picks we have. And I just love to take those picks and I just go whack as hard as I can, because I can snap some rocks in half and pull them out. And so I'm just digging. And there was like 2 or 3 rocks, and I cracked them and pulled them out. And next, you know, I hit this thing that's kind of hard. And I'm just getting some weird vibes. So the energy around me is changing. And something's happening. I really can't explain that part, Doug. And I pick up that thing, and I'm like, I'm going to crack this thing. And I take the pick over my head, and I get ready to go down. And some instinct just says, don't do it. And I'm thinking, why not? So I kind of set it down, and I take the rake, and I take the little handle, and I start kind of poking around there. And I think, this looks like a rock. So I'm thinking it's okay. And then I start taking my fingers around it, and it's freaking this metal object. I'm thinking, boy, I don't know what that is. So I'm digging some more, and it's got this military green color on there, and it's starting to you know, have this shape. And I'm digging around a little bit more, and all of a sudden I jump back and I go, oh my gosh, that's a landmine. that's a freaking landmine, and it's huge. But I thought, how could it be so? I've never seen one before in my life. And I thought, whoa, that thing is so huge. So my parents immediately called the military and people to come in. And they came in, and this guy's just tippy-toeing and working on it there for the longest time. And he pulls it out, and it's this huge tank buster landmine. And he said, if you would have hit that thing, there would have been a hole around you, probably 6 feet in diameter, all the way around you, and you would have been blown into, I don't know, hundreds of pieces. Smithereens.
Smithereens, Jesse. I mean, it gives me chills even this, and I've heard you tell the story many times.
Yeah.
Still, thank you for not taking that final swing.
Yeah.
So you all be careful when you're digging your gardens. You just never know what you're going to find. Still buried in the ground from a long time ago. That's a way cool story. So we'll fast forward a little bit. You've been eating raw foods now. You're a couple more years will be half your life.
Yeah, amazing, huh?
And when you get to halfway, you get to reevaluate and make the decision. Do you want to go back, or do you want to keep eating raw? I know what you'll choose, but that's sort of the proverbial time is once you've got half your life, and then you can make an accurate comparison. Until then, it's hard to really be fair about the comparison. I say with my tongue in my cheek, but so that brings us up to now, and now you're still reaching out to people in a way to support them in their raw food efforts, to make raw food seem more appealing, to get more people doing raw food, or those who are already there to eat more raw food. And what's your approach these days?
Well, my approach is just, I mean, maybe a lot of people won't do it unless they have some big illness, usually I find, So my approach is to tell people just to keep eating more fresh, raw fruits, vegetables, and greens, and to just, eat as much as you want, and the more the better. I mean, I'm not here to push anyone to do that, but me personally, I still, from the day one and now, I love 100% raw vegan. I would say the only thing that's changed for me is that I eat, I would say, I eat like wow, I must have had a little hair or something. A big variety of things. I eat as many different types of fruits as I can. I eat lots of different vegetables and all kinds of greens. And I find that I really like wild foods, like wild asparagus, dandelions, here and there. I even eat cauliflower blended up with a little bit of avocado. So somehow I guess, developed over the years like a kind of really intuition for my body. Like I know what I crave, and I crave like this huge variety of different things. So I think it's important.
So that's your personal program. And how about as far as reaching out to others? How are you making raw foods accessible to them?
Well, just to kind of show them that it's pretty easy. There's all kinds of stores around, so you can pretty much get almost any fruit and vegetable around, and showing them, what's possible. I get a lot of clients who have big health problems. They're usually the ones who, search online for things, and people who have like headaches and minor things, they really don't think so much about switching their diet or anything. But even those people, if I find someone on the street and they say, oh, I got a headache today, I say, why don't you have some orange juice? Why don't you try skipping, one meal and eating some more, have a nice fruit meal,
And then as far as your own intensive programs, you're running retreats at this point, I know.
Yes, just a few here and there, not too much, just when we can. But our main thing is the new project, and that's a cruise. We're having a raw food cruise now, second year.
And it went well the first time?
It went really well. We got fully booked. It took a while to get the word out about that, and some people were scared about being seasick, and we picked a really good path, and people who've been, on the sea for like 20, 30 years, and there was nobody on the cruise had any issues with that. And it's a good setting. It's actually a nice setting. The scenery is changing every few seconds, so it makes it kind of really interesting.
So is this is the Aegean Sea that you're in, or where are you exactly when you cruise?
When it's going to happen again?
No, where's the cruise? Where does it go?
Oh, in Croatia, it starts in Split, and it goes kind of all around to some islands, and then it goes down to Dubrovnik, and we can kind of pick the path. We can pick like 5 or 6 places that we want it to go, and we try to change it up now. Actually, from the first cruise, we have about there's about 10 or 11 people who are coming back again for a second year. So this one in June, we had to change the whole itinerary, so it'd be
new itinerary.
Yeah.
And then how many people come on the cruise?
We can have up to 40.
Wow.
So we can have up to 40 guests.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be a great thing. You're going to do 2 cruises this year.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you every success in that. And of course, we'll make information about how to reach you. You have a website at this point?
Yes, thewholelifestyle.com.
Thewholelifestyle.com. And the cruise, if they want to find out about the cruise, it's at thewholelifestyle.com.
Yeah, there's a banner there with the cruise and my coaching, and everything's there.
And on the cruise, you'll have an educational component as well, or is it just a good time?
Well, both. Yes, educational thing. We're going to kind of go through, like, some of the pitfalls, what people make mistakes, and just kind of, how to do raw food, and a bunch of suggestions on that and tips. And also it goes beyond. I mean, my whole thing is like lifestyle. I've really been a fan of lifestyle. So, I mean, raw food is only so much of that. And then there's exercise, there's, going to bed early. There's, if you have peace in your heart, if you're doing what you love, there's all kinds of tweaks.
That sounds fantastic. And I'm sure you'll have great success with that. So in your own life, you get sick often, or you stay pretty healthy?
Totally. No sick. I mean, I don't remember the last time. I think I got last year when the first cruise was, I got a little, just feeling kind of overwhelmed because it was the first one. So I got a little, not really a cold, but my nose was running just a little bit, Oh no, I lost my voice actually. So my nose was running a little bit, and I lost my voice for a few days. So I told the rest of the team that I'm just going to, rest for a few hours. And then I went to bed early that day, and the next day everything was gone and I was ready to roll. But I mean,
life is good.
Yeah.
And how did you meet Rainey? Is there a story behind that?
Oh yeah, that's it. I've been waiting a long time to meet the right one, and actually on Facebook we met. So that's a nice story. So I'm really grateful to Facebook, not only to help me find clients and people that I can actually help, because sometimes I actually go through and I see people who are struggling, or they're getting ready to remove organs or something, and I jump in there and I say, hey, let's have a little talk. But anyway, Rainey was looking to meet a partner into raw food, and we met this mutual friend, some lady from Germany. She was talking about raw food or something, and we both commented on her thing at the same time, and was talking about raw food, and like durian. Actually, it was durian that we were talking about, and she's like, oh, I never tried durian, and I'm up for the challenge to try it one day. And I said, oh, you better be careful. That was a kind of smelly fruit, and some people don't like it. Me personally, I love it. But so we started talking about that. And she said, oh, your name kind of sounds European, and it's so sad in Europe, there's nobody really, and you're all the way in the States. And I said, oh, I'm not all the way in the States. I'm actually in Croatia. She's like, wow, that's amazing. I'm in Estonia. And she said, wow, I want to meet sometime. And I said, oh, we have a actually retreat, going. And then she said, oh, I want to come to the retreat. And I said, oh, that's great. We don't really have anyone. We do actually, our retreats are real small. We only do a few people at a time because of the room we have. And I really want to focus in and give those people the tools to, when they go home, that they'll succeed on eating raw or, improving their health or wherever their goal is. So anyway, she came and we hit it off, and that's the end of the story. And she told me that she wanted to manifest someone who was eating all raw, and it only took 2 weeks to find me.
It only took 2 weeks.
2 weeks for her, and I've been trying years.
Well, you just had to leave it up to her.
Yeah, and here it is. Yeah, almost. This summer will be 7 years together.
Fantastic. And the only other thing I want to ask really is exercises these days. Do you follow any special program? Do you do a routine? Do you just stay active? Do you have any exercises you're passionate about?
Well, I do like a mix of things. I like to start in the morning, a little bit of rebounding. Depends if it's cold or not. And then I do some stretching, and then I'll go out and walk. I don't run as much, Somehow I never got into too much running, but I like cycling. I love body weight, actually. I found that I love to do push-ups and pull-ups and working on a bar. We have a yoga swing. I like going upside down on that. I'm working on handstands. That's actually my big goal now. So I'm really want to complete that and get into handstands. So I'm working on that now.
Good for you.
Let's see.
If you were to give one simple message to people, and it can be a phrase, it could be a sentence, it could be 5 minutes. I don't really care. But if you were to try to give a message to people, to our listeners, what would you tell them?
Wow. You got so many messages and so many aspects of the whole lifestyle. It's just I would think, well, I have many messages. I guess I would just start with, like, if you have any health condition, to really research, the options out there before you listen to the, mainstream medical system that tells you to remove an organ or, get chopped up, and try the natural approach first. And if you have a major problem, I recommend doing some fasting, but try raw food first, and see how that works. But I've seen everything heal, between my mom and me. I've seen absolutely everything heal. If a person's willing to, be consistent with their, exercise and doing, going to bed early and eating well, I've seen everything go away, from cancer to everything, with raw food and fasting and lifestyle. It's not just about raw food or fasting. You have to go to bed early. I got so many clients that I'm working with, and they're like, oh, I'm eating dinner at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 at night, and I'm going to bed like at 1 in the morning, and I got pain and I can't sleep. And they're doing like all raw food, and they're not healing.
Right.
So I tell them, hey, you really got to start going to bed at 7 or 8. And this is like, I'm not going to even work with you if you don't start doing this now, because sometimes I got so many people bugging me for advice. So I say, okay, why don't you just try it once, please? So one lady, I was begging for her to do that for months, maybe like 3 months. And now she finally started. She gained 5 kilos. Health problems are getting better. She's still got pain and all these issues, but she's able to fast now and get better. So she's on her way, and many people are on their way just by that simple trick of going to bed early. The other thing I would say is to do something that you really love to do, and to follow your heart. I think that's really, really important. So if you're in any kind of situation that makes you feel bad or you're not happy, to really look at that and look at the solutions that you can to get out of it. Like if there's a job you don't like, do something else. If there's a place you're living in, I mean, these may be hard things to change, but we can be and have and do anything we want in this world. I mean, we are really magical. If we use our heads and do the right things, it's amazing what we can do.
Have you ever thought of creating anything like educational materials of your own?
Yeah, I would like to do that actually. I'm thinking about what's the, best platform for that. I mean, we have a raw food book, just simply vibrant recipes, and there's just these simple, well combined, low fat recipes in there. We have that, and I think the community kind of falls apart unless we have like a tribe. So it's really, really important for people to have a bunch of raw food friends, because if we have several hundred people here and there's only maybe we know one or two people over here, it's so easy to get sucked back into the mainstream. So to break free from that, we need to surround ourselves with people into raw, into health. We need potlucks, we need gatherings, we need events. It's really, really important to surround yourself with that. And if you have, like on Facebook, if you have 300 people and you have one or two raw food friends, you need to start going around and friending people and looking into Facebook groups and start changing that number. Start just friend a bunch of people who seem interesting to you, and find a bunch of people who are doing great things that you would like to do, and then the whole energy changes and you find that it's easier to switch over.
Last year was a treat for me because I got to see you at the UK Fruit Festival.
That was great.
Was that the first festival that you've attended in a while?
It was, for many, many years.
Right. How'd you enjoy it?
It was good. It was really nice. I love Ronnie, and he did a really nice job. Yeah, actually, before that, there was a couple years, there was a Estonia Raw Food Festival, and I got to do that. It wasn't so big or anything, but they had me as the keynote speaker, and that was really fun to get back into the possibility of doing that. So, but the UK Fruit Fest has been my favorite one because it's a lot of like-minded people, and the setting was really nice, and got to see you guys and how Francesca's growing up nicely, and Rosie, and just, it was beautiful, and the music and the dancing there and all those good fruits. It was really nice.
Although I've not been to Croatia, and the landmines are a little bit scary. Well, do you see a Croatian Raw Food Festival in the future?
Yeah, I would like to do that, actually. It's just a matter of finding time. I mean, Doug, this is crazy. This, everyone thinks that this cruise is just a 7-day ordeal, and now it's going to be 14 days, but it's all year long. It's all year long. It's 365 days to get it all organized, prepared, make sure we get it, fully booked. And if we don't get it fully booked, that's a trouble, because we can't continue. So everything is on the line. It's really challenging. But I have faith in it.
So we've got a question come in asking whether you think that your mobility these days. I'll read you the whole question, actually.
Okay.
I just love, Jesse, I love your gentle, caring nature. Do you attribute your mobility to the raw food diet, or to your yoga and stretching practice, or a little bit of both? Can you really tell what affects you most?
Absolutely, I can tell. I mean, it goes like several layers deep. I mean, I remember my days before raw food, and I was really, really stiff. I mean, I did all kinds of physical training and stuff once I got out of the fasting, because the doctors were saying like, oh, if you don't move, you're going to be in trouble. And, you have bad circulation and so many issues. And when I started eating raw, like a year and a half into that, I could just feel my body tingling. I could feel things opening up. I could feel muscle fiber kind of more stretchy, more elastic, and and then doing stretching and yoga, or whatever you want to call it, just that movement, it really helped a lot. And I noticed also sitting on the computer a lot. I try to do standing up, like a little stand-up desk, and I just feel my body right away. If I'm not moving enough, I feel a little stiff, and I have to keep moving. So it's important to keep moving and find something that you really love to do to stay active, because you just feel so good when those endorphins kick in. And I'll be laughing, doing push-ups, laughing, and I'll just say, oh, I'll do a couple more, and then the giggles come, even the burst is even more explosive. And I love working out now. I mean, I wouldn't skip exercise, and if by chance I do, then I just don't feel so good. And also with sleep, I mean, it's everything, Doug. If you really look at everything is so interconnected. It's really amazing,
Yes, interconnected and interdependent both. But
Yeah.
I agree with you that I noticed profound increases in my flexibility and mobility uh, simply by changing over to a raw food diet. And then, of
Exactly.
course, you want to maintain that and improve that through physical activities. Well, Jesse, that's a lot of what we want to cover tonight. I appreciate so much getting to spend some time with you. I don't know when. Are you planning to make any trips back to festivals, Denmark or UK or
I
anything of that
I
sort? Or
Yeah, I want to. I wish I could. Like the UK Fruit Fest got changed, and it went too close to our August cruise. So
right,
sadly, I won't be
right.
making that one. And I don't know if I actually want to keep doing two cruises. I almost maybe like to stay to one, so I could be more kind of mobile and see more festivals and things. But if I can get
What
a
are you
chance,
finding most? What are you finding most challenging these days?
like what?
Yeah, where do you see your own personal growth happening?
I think being, open-minded and learning. I love to read. I think another big tool these days is I like to read a book a week. So that's my big project for this year, to just read all kinds of self-help books. I think the mind is really powerful. And I think, when you have your mindset, that's where I could do all these things. Because for me to survive that vaccine and everything, I had to really develop a strong mind and positivity, because I mean, 5 doctors, told me all that I'm going to die, and I'm going to there and listening to them. And, my mom's crying. I'm starting to cry, because after 5 of them, I just, it was so painful to hear that. And, I'm thinking I'm going to live, and they're telling me I'm going to die. And it was just, crazy. And, actually, far as pain goes, dealing that, not only did I get polio, but I had so much pain inside that my whole body feels like it was on fire and burning. So I had muscles burning, joints in my spine burning. Actually, it was so bad, Doug, I wanted to jump off a building several times. I really didn't tell anybody about that too much. And then my dad found that fasting book, and boy, just after a little bit of fasting, that turned things around. So I'm just glad that I didn't jump. It's so important I think actually the biggest thing I would say is never, ever, ever give up. No matter how big your challenge is, no matter how crazy your head says, oh, there's no solution. Every problem has multiple solutions, every freaking problem. So whatever it is, no matter if it's a relationship, if it's financial or health, or whatever it is, there's always a solution. So my biggest tip, I guess, would be to everyone out there is to please never, ever, ever give up.
Jackie, I think Jesse may have just answered your question about will you continue to improve and get hip mobility back. I don't know all of the problems, I don't think, regarding your hip mobility, but uh, I agree with Jesse all the way. One of the big things that I found improves mobility is when I fasted, it just freed up a lot, a lot.
Yes.
It wasn't just getting thinner by any stretch. The joints became far more flexible again,
Yeah.
and I appreciated that increased mobility. And I've seen it with hundreds of fasters, from yoga practitioners and dancers to people who it worked pretty much on everybody but Kevin. Um, and I'm only teasing there, Kevin. Don't really.
I
Kevin's
know
mobility.
my weak spots.
Kevin is incredibly agile. He makes up for
Inflexible.
lack of flexibility with agility and his ability to be mobile. So, as much as we'd all love to have it all, um, we all have some weak links. We
Yep.
all do. Everybody does, and it gives us things to work on. What would you say is your weak link at this point, Jesse?
Well, I would still say my legs a bit. I mean, I sometimes I give too much time to people and help. I mean, that's my biggest thing. I feel like my heart exploded open and I want to provide hope to people because nobody was giving me hope back then. I just wish somebody would have, helped me or knew that they could, And the other thing that bothered me too was all these so-called health experts and raw food experts. People wanted to charge $500 an hour, and I couldn't afford that. My parents couldn't afford that back then, spending everything they had to keep me going, So I wanted to provide. I work by donation, so if somebody has a health problem or a challenge or something and they don't have money, I even work without money if I have to. But I definitely think for me, my legs is one that I'm still working on, and I want to work on that more and find more time to do that. I think time is a big thing. Our time just goes by so fast. We only have a certain amount of hours and minutes in each day, and we got to really make a nice, plan for that. Everyone's facing that.
Kevin, you look like you had something you wanted to say. Oh, you're
I
good.
do. I do have a question. I have a question.
Sure.
If I might ask, Jesse, you had said you'd studied with various health teachers, and as you mentioned, sometimes you run into people and they've got some truth, and then it runs out and fizzles out into some nonsense. One thing that I've admired about Dr. Graham's work is that I've tried to poke holes into it many times, and I repeatedly find that there's just truth stuck in there, which is a good thing to have happen. Is there, besides Dr. Graham, who's been the biggest mentor, besides your parents as well, that you could recommend to somebody else as an influence?
Boy, that's a good question. Because, I mean, there's just so many, and there's so many little tidbits out there with everything, and I feel like it's important for people to go around and check out information. I mean, I know a lot of people can get confused that way, but for me, I had to, see it for myself. I had to really experience that, and even when I went, all raw, I just couldn't say, oh, I'm just going to do this. I gave myself 3 months, and I said, I'm going to do 100% raw no matter what happens for 3 months. And as I got close to that 3 months end, I thought, I'm still not, all the way sure, because there's not enough people doing that. So I thought, I'm going to do 6 months and 100% no matter what. And just after 3 months, I had the worst healing crisis where I was eliminating by, vomiting, and had the runs at the same time, and all this stuff was coming out, and cravings were, off the chart, to where I was craving like chocolate cake and steamed artichokes. And I'm like shaking my mom. I'm like, Mom, you got to buy me this stuff now. I want this stuff now. And she's all, okay, I'll go get it. And it was midnight, and all that night I had like sweats. I was dreaming about things, feeling really sick. And by morning it went away. And then I'm like, oh, Mom, forget about all that stuff. Just give me some oranges, give me some fruits. I'm done now. I don't want that stuff. So, we have to, I guess we all go through these things like that, but boy, I have a huge list. I mean, I've studied with pretty much everyone, I learned things from Paul Nissan. We were good friends, and, I learned stuff from him. I mean, I saw Gabriel Cousins. I studied some things with him. And there's little tidbits, around that you learn from everyone. And then you just you develop your own thing after years, and you see what works and what doesn't work,
Certainly. And I guess the reason I was asking is because sometimes you run into somebody who's been down a path and they can save you some time. Paul Nissan, David Wolf, I've gone down those paths, and I don't recommend people, their truth just doesn't go as far. And so I hardly recommend those. So just curious if that sticks out in your mind, that it's like, oh, this person still exemplifies truth and seems to be moving in that direction. But I appreciate your stories, Dr. Jesse. It's been really great listening to you.
I mean, a lot of people change their thing too, and like those guys, they've went like this and changed a bunch of things, you know, and that's the thing where you got to watch out for too, is people are changing, and Doug, it seems to be just, you know, in that direction, same thing, and learning. Also, you're learning, Doug, and fine-tuning things like last health and fitness thing I went to where you were talking about blenders and using the blender that doesn't put some oxidized things so much and stuff like that. So we're always, every one of us is picking up new things as technology changes and more information comes in. So it's good to be open-minded about things. And I don't see it getting better than this though, because I mean, I've seen all these people come and go in the raw food movement, and I don't feel like I want to change anything. Of course, I'll learn. I mean, for me, I guess the changes are that I eat a bigger variety of greens and kale. I don't know. For me, kale, I always loved kale. I know it's a bit harder to digest, but when you mix it with a little bit of avocado in there, it seems to go down good. And I just feel like I get something in there that I wouldn't otherwise, you know? So things like that. I mean,
I think the changes that are coming are going to be the cumulative changes that you accrue within you, not so much that you necessarily learn new things, but that, and you will continue to learn new things. I'm still learning new things every day, but the cumulative effect of living those things changes who you are. It's kind of like a snowball gathering momentum and gaining size. We become even stronger within and more committed, more deeply committed, and better able to express what we believe and what we know. We become just a more clear and better focused proponent of what we're in favor of.
Yes.
Jesse, it's been a real treat to have you on. The Whole Lifestyle, if anybody wants to look into more of what Jesse's doing, he's got thewholelifestyle.com, or Jesse is thewholelifestyle.com. It's a great name. And he's offering cruises this year that are the only raw food cruises out there. If you want to have a great vacation and learn some more from Jesse at the same time and experience some of Jesse's lifestyle, he'll share it with you on the cruises through the absolutely gorgeous area that Croatia is, and the water around it is just spectacular. Well worth looking at the site. And if I can do anything to support your efforts, Jesse, know that I'm always here for you.
Thank you, Doug. If you can just maybe send out a newsletter or something, that would help a lot. If it's going, and I would like to see you out there sometime and maybe do like a health and fitness cruise.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I'll look forward to that one.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to also say, I don't know, are we running out of time?
We run out of time when we stop.
Okay. I just wanted to say we got back from Thailand a little while ago, and we went 45 days there, and it was absolutely fabulous. The fruits over there was amazing, and we packed super light, so we did not have any blended food at all. So no smoothies, no nothing, just eating like a lot of mono meals. And coming back now, I just feel like I almost don't want to touch my blender. You know, maybe make some kind of salad dressing or something in there, but I don't feel like smoothies much anymore, and I just enjoy eating just tons of fruits and tons of things.
It's amazing how you change in a relatively short period of time, and I know we've had the same experience with people telling me, how do they limit their fat? And I go, you know what, just limit your fat for a few days. It just gets easier and easier. It's, what you do very quickly becomes who you are. So good. Welcome home. I'm glad you had a good trip. Kevin, if you have anything you want to say to help us wrap up. I know we have our
I was going to mention that in 2 days' time we have a special retreat.
Yeah, we'll be back. And,
we'll be back.
Jesse mentioned many times his enjoyment of Health and Fitness Week. I'm going to describe that to the best of my abilities on Saturday.
You'll fail, but I mean you'll try. You'll try to describe it, but yes, there's no way to encapsulate the fantastic experience that really goes on at Health and Fitness Week. But it'll be a good attempt to be at, and it'll be a good discussion, and we can share our experiences. I share the same joy and love for Health and Fitness Week. I wish it happened more often than once a year.
Yeah.
We'll have a bunch of slides. We'll have hopefully a few guests appear at Health, and I'm looking forward to describing it for anybody who wants to know more about those events. You might want to come. You might want to send somebody. There's nothing like Health and Fitness Week in the whole wide world, just like there's nothing like the whole lifestyle cruises of Croatia. There's just nothing like it. They're one of a kind, and everyone is unique. Of course, we're going to have our other events, and if you want to know more about any of the food and sport retreats, come to our Saturday's webinar, or watch it within the next few days, because our prices will be going up shortly if you want the absolute best prices. Plus, we're offering some free gifts and special offers on yet a few other things just for attending the webinar. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Maybe Jesse might even show up at the webinar. We'll let you know about it.
Okay.
So again, Jesse, thank you for making time to come and share. It's so much fun to talk with you and go heart to heart with you, which is always a good time for me, and I know it is for you. I count my blessings that we've been friends now for so long, and I'm looking to much longer than that even yet to come.
Likewise, Doug. Yeah, and it's so nice to meet you too, Kevin, to actually talk and meet finally.
It was very nice to meet you, Jesse, virtually like this.
Yeah.
It was great hearing your story and getting to know you better.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with the internet these days. This whole thing can sweep the whole world. I mean, it's amazing what the internet can do, you know?
A lot of people will see this, and you'll influence a lot of people for the good, Jesse.
Nice.
Thanks again for coming.
All right. Yeah, and I just want to also say that our cruise is, there's like 400 off right now for 5 more days. So if somebody wants to jump on that, we have a huge spring discount. So
this is the time. Well, most of the people who'll be watching this will watch in the next 4 days, so they will get that message, and hopefully we'll see some good results as a response.
Yeah, I look forward to catching up with you guys in person sometime. I don't know when, but soon, hopefully.
Hopefully. All right. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Jesse Bogdanovich, my special guest this time, telling us about his Croatian cruises and his amazing raw food lifestyle. Truly, you're one of the stories that I tell people about. You know, when people ask, have we seen big transformations? Certainly Jesse's one of those big transformation stories. Kevin, any final words?
You just about covered it there, Dr. Graham. I'll see everyone on a couple days from now. Take care, everyone. As Dr. Graham says, go to health.
Go to health, everybody.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Yeah, keep in touch, and we'll talk later. And if anyone out there has any questions or something, yeah, please let me know. It may take a while to get to emails, but I do answer everything that comes through. So thank you guys so much for having me. And yeah, keep spreading the message. This world needs this beautiful message, and we got to keep going forward.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.